5.7 more division. What if the bigger exponent is on the bottom? X to the 2 over x to the 5 would mean write 2 on top, write 5 on bottom. The 2 from the top divide out with 2 from the bottom. X divided by x equals 1. So on bottom, we would have x to the 3rd because there are 3 left over. X to the 4 divided by x to the 6th would mean write 4 on top, 6 on bottom. The 4 on the top would cancel with 4 from the bottom. X divided by x equals 1. On bottom, we have x squared because there are 2 left over. Here's the same problem. Let's see how we can work this without writing it out. We're still going to subtract the exponents like in 5.5. 6 minus 4 is 2. The variable goes at the bottom with the power that is larger at the bottom. If there are more variables at the bottom, they will be left over at the bottom after you cancel. 6 is bigger than 4, so that means there are more exponents at the bottom. So all the top cancel, but there are left over at the bottom. That's why you have x squared at the bottom. Negative 9x to the 10 over 18x to the 17. 9 goes into 9, 1. 9 goes into 18, 2. For the exponents, 17 minus 10 is 7, and the power is bigger at the bottom, so x7 is at the bottom. 15x to the 9th over 20x to the 11. Reduce 15 over 20. 5 goes into each. 5 into 15 is 3. 5 into 20 is 4. For the powers, 11 minus 9 is 2. 11 is bigger, so x2 is at the bottom. 30x to the 5th, y to the 8th, z, divided by 20x to the 9th, y. Reduce, 10 goes into 30 3 times. 10 goes into 20 2 times. For the x's, subtract. 9 is at the bottom, that's bigger. 9 minus 5 is 4. The power is bigger for x at the bottom, so 4 is at the bottom. For the y's, y8 on top, y on bottom is understood y to the 1. So 8 minus 1 would be y to the 7. It's at the top because the bigger power was at the top. Z stays because there's not a z on bottom to cancel. 30x to the 5th m divided by 40x to the 12m. Reduce 30 over 40. 10 goes into 30 3 times. 10 goes into 40 4 times. Subtract the exponents. For the x, 12 minus 5 will be x to the 7 on bottom. The m's divide out. So 3 divided by 4x to the 7. More on exponents. X to the 10 divided by x to the 3rd, we subtract. 10 minus 3 is 7. The power's bigger on top, so we have x to the 7. But x to the 3 divided by x to the 10 would be 1 over x to the 7. 10 minus 3 is 7, but this time the bigger power is at the bottom. The technical rule is to subtract top exponent minus bottom exponent. So x to the 3 divided by x to the 10 is x to the negative 7, because 3 minus 10 is negative 7. But we know that it also equals 1 divided by x to the 7. So x to the negative 7 equals 1 over x to the 7. Now, I don't want you to work those problems like that. I want you to do it like we did. Let's look back at the middle line, the second line. X to the 3 over x to the 10. The bigger power is 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. The x to the 7 goes on the bottom because the power is bigger on bottom. Why am I showing you this? I want you to understand that last line there. X to the negative 7 equals 1 over x to the positive 7. We have a rule. Anytime you have a negative exponent, move it across the fraction line to make it a positive exponent. I just wanted you to understand why this is true. So, negative exponent, move it across the fraction line, make it positive. X to the negative 4 is 1 over x to the positive 4. 3 divided by x to the negative 5. The x to the negative 5 would come to the top and have 3x to the 5. The 3 stays because it doesn't have a negative exponent. Numbers raised to a negative exponent. 9 to the negative 2 would be 1 over 9 to the positive 2. And 9 times 9 equals 81. So 1 over 81. Take the 9 to the bottom since it is a negative exponent. 4 to the negative 3 would be 1 over 4 to the positive 3. 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64. Take 4 to the bottom since it is a negative exponent. Negative 5 in parentheses to the negative 2. The negative 5 would come to the bottom. The negative 2 turns into positive 2. Negative 5 times negative 5 equals positive 25. Flip the negative 5 since the exponent is negative. Negative, parentheses, negative 3 close, parentheses, to the negative 2. The negative in the front stays. The negative 3 goes to the bottom. The negative 2 turns into positive 2. It goes to the bottom because of the negative exponent. The negative in the front stays. Negative 3 times negative 3 equals positive 9. 2/3 to the negative 2. Since the whole thing in parentheses is raised to the negative, flip the fraction and make the negative positive. So that means 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Flip the whole thing since it has a negative exponent. 3 over 4 to the negative 2. Flip the whole thing since it has a negative exponent. So we get 4 over 3 times 4 over 3. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9. Always move negative exponents to make them positive. Only positive exponents as answers. So 5x to the negative 7 times 3x to the third. The x to the negative 7 goes to the bottom, and we put 3x to the third over an understood 1. Multiply straight across. 5 times 3x cubed is 15x cubed. X to the 7 times 1 is x to the 7. Now we're going to simplify since we have x on top and bottom. 7 minus 3 is 4. X to the 4 is at the bottom because the power was bigger at the bottom. 3x to the negative 2 times 4x to the 8th. The x to the negative 2 goes to the bottom because it's a negative power. 4x to the 8th is over an understood 1. Multiply across. 3 times 4x to the 8th is 12x to the 8th. X squared times 1 is x squared. Subtract your exponents. 8 minus 2 is 6, and your power is bigger on top. 2x to the negative 4 times 5x to the negative 7. X to the negative 4 goes to the bottom, becomes x to the positive 4. X to the negative 7 goes to the bottom and becomes x to the positive 7. The numbers stay where they are. The 2 and 5 stay because the negative is only on the letter. So multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. X to the 4 times x to the 7. Remember, our shortcut there is to add. 4 plus 7 is 11. You can also write them out. That would mean write 4 out and write 7 out beside it. So that's 11 in all. 3x to the 5th divided by 12x to the negative third. The x to the negative third goes to the top to become x to the positive third. 3 over 12 reduces. 3 goes into 3, 1. 3 goes into 12, 4. Add your exponents on top. 5 plus 3 equals 8. You can also write out all those x's. You'd write 5. You'd write 3 more beside it. 5 plus 3 is 8. 20x to the negative 3 over 30x to the negative 5. The x to the negative 3 goes to the bottom as x to the positive 3. The x to the negative 5 goes to the top as x to the positive 5. Reduce. 10 into 20 is 2. 10 into 30 is 10. Subtract your powers. 5 minus 3 is 2. The bigger power is on top, so that's why x2 is on top. Negative 5x to the fourth divided by 10x to the negative 3. The x to the negative 3 that's on bottom goes to the top. 5 over 10 reduces to 1 over 2 because 5 goes into 5 and 5 goes into 10. Add our exponents on top. 4 plus 3 is 7. You can write them out. You would write out 4 and then 3 more is 7. 15x to the negative 7 divided by negative 5x to the fourth. The x to the negative 7 comes to the bottom as x to the positive 7. Negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. On bottom, add your exponents. 4 plus 7 equals 11. That's the end.